How you doing, guys? Big Mate Dansko here again today, back once again with another episode of Warhammer Thoughty. And in today's video I'll be talking a little further about the Warhammer 40,000 Conquest subscription service from Hatchet Partworks and Games Workshop.
Warhammer Thoughty.
So you may remember from a video I released last week that I spoke about the price of the Conquest subscription services. There's two of them, the premium one and the standard one. And I also spoke about the cost of the miniatures in there if you were to buy them separately from GW. In today's video, what I'm going to focus on is the points of each army that you get over the course of the subscription. So stay tuned and you'll learn a bit more. So guys, on to me breaking down the points. Firstly, I'll do it for the Death Guard and then I'll move over to the Primaris Marines half of the collection. So these points, I've estimated them based on what I think is in the picture you can see here. Now you may have noticed I've moved down to the corner of the screen, if all's gone to plan. And yeah, so I'm going to break down now for you what you get in terms of HQ, troops, elites, fast attacks, heavy supports and transports. Now there's a few caveats which I'll address as I go through the various slots. So HQ, first off you get a Lord of Contagion. You get that in the Dark Imperium box set. You also get a Malignant Plague Caster and Typhus. Now that is a great model, Typhus. Well, I say it's a great model. I don't particularly like the pose of the model, but there's some great conversions out there. If you look at Mr. Cragam, he's done a cool conversion. I don't know if he was the first to do that conversion. But there's a few others out. I think Mr. Cram's done a conversion. Anyway, it's a while since I've seen it. I think he did it shortly after the new Typhus model was released. But if I remember rightly, it's Typhus holding up, instead of holding up his Man Reaper, or whatever the scythe is, instead of holding that up, he's basically holding up, I can't remember, it's a Tau. I think it's a Tau model by the throat, basically. And he's got his Man Reaper in his other hand. But I think that's Mr. Cragam's conversion. If not, then I feel like he's spoken about it or something. Yeah, so Typhus is a great model. They're the three models you get in the HQ slot. However, Felthius Cohort, the way I'm working out the points is through Battlescribe. And Felthius isn't on the Battlescribe data I've downloaded onto my computer to work all this out. So Felthius could be an HQ choice, and that could therefore bump the overall points cost of the Death Guard up. But with the three that I've mentioned, the Lord of Contagion, Malignant Plaguecaster and Typhus, you're looking at 402 points. Now Felthius, I've added in a Chaos Lord and Terminator armor just to give us a bit of an idea of how many extra points potentially you're getting in the HQ slot. And Chaos Lord and Terminator armor is 111 points base, so you're getting another 100 points on top of that. So you're looking at around 500, 550 points probably for the HQ choices alone. That's one thing with this set. There's a lot of character models in there and single models, like in the Primaris Marines you get the Ancient and the Lieutenants and stuff like that. That sort of inflates the points a little bit. But it does make it like an army that you could take to a tournament as well. However, whether you could keep it Battleforged or not, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to look at that in this video, but possibly in a future video I might look at that. So yeah, there's your HQ. So now let's move on to the troops. Now what I think you get in the troops is 12 Cultists, 32 Poxwalkers, and 14 Plague Marines. Now, the Plague Marines, I think you get the 7 that you get in Dark Imperium, which is 6 with a champion. And then I'm pretty certain you're getting the easy to build ones twice. One from the value of the First Strike box set, and one from just an easy to build set. Another thing as well, on my previous video on the cost side of things, I worked out basically the overall cost I worked out based on purchasing each of the easy to build kits separately. So I think there's around 6 lots of easy to build kits from basically the Poxwalkers, Plague Marines, reavers, and the intercessors. I've worked out that you've bought 6 of them separately, but what you could actually do is buy a First Strike box set, which would save you a bit of money. So my initial cost for minis in terrain was £923.50. You can knock 15 quid off that basically, because you'd save yourself £25 if you bought the First Strike box rather than those boxes separately. So back to the troops choices. So you get two lots of 6 easy to build cultists in there by the looks of things, which are £6 a box. And points wise, the troops come in at around 500 points again. So you've got about 500 points of HQs, 500 points of troops, which gives you 1,000 points already just in HQs and troops. Plague Marines, like I said, 2 lots of easy to build, and there's a champion in there as well, which you can put in a Plague Marine unit, and that gives you 2 units of 7 Plague Marines, each with a champion. You've got a couple of Blight Launchers in there from the easy to build box sets. So there's some pretty useful units in here already, I'd say. And then you've got 32 Poxwalkers. Now, I've listed it here as 2 squads of 16, just for ease of, just for my ease, basically. But obviously, you can change that if you want to change your tactics, make it 3 squads, 2 with 10, 1 with 12, 2 with 11, 1 with 10, whatever. So overall, I've worked that out to be 521 points for the troops, but that's ish, because I'm not sure entirely what weapons the Dark Imperium Marines come with, the Dark Imperium Plague Marines come with. I know they come with a plasma gun, there's 2 Blight Launchers in there, but I'm not sure if there's any special melee weapons in there or anything like that. Again, Battle Scribe, it's a bit hit and miss sometimes, Battle Scribe. I can't seem to add a Power Fist on the champion and things like that, so those points could be a little bit higher than 521, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm just going to get a sip of water, and then I'll move on to the elites for you. So now, the elites. 414 points, maybe more, is what I've said for this. In there you get a Biologist Putrefier, Felthius Cohort. Obviously I mentioned earlier, Felthius doesn't seem to be included in that on Battlescribe for some reason. It may be that I just downloaded the wrong data file. Noxious Blightbringer, Plague Surgeon, and a Tallyman. Now, I've listed those like that, but on the GW website they're listed differently. Like, for example, the Tallyman I think is Scribulous Wretch or something like that. So it could be that they are special characters in the Death Guard Codex, which, again, on this data that I've got from Battlescribe. So these points could be different. 400 reported points, maybe more. Could be anything, again, up to 500 points, which gives you 1,500 points already. So yeah, I'm just going to skim over that one, really, because I'm not entirely convinced the points are right on Battlescribe. It may be that the ones on the GW website, the Plague Surgeon, and the Tallyman, I think it's Noxious Rotbone or something, the Plague Surgeon, on the GW website. I don't know whether he's an actual character in the Death Guard Codex, or if it's just that's the model that represents the Plague Surgeon. So he could be more points. The Tallyman could be more points. We're looking at 400, 500, maybe as many as 600 points, but I can't be sure on that one, unfortunately. So what I'll do is move on to the fast attack. But let's total it up. So around 500 points of HQs, 500 points of troops, 500 points of elites. That's 1,500 points already. We're doing well here. We're doing well for the money we're spending. We're getting it's already a playable force, isn't it? Really, in a 4 foot by 4 foot on a 4 foot by 4 foot table, it's a playable force. That 1,500 points. And then so now we'll move on to the fast attacks. With the fast attacks, what you're getting is 2 Chaos Spawn, Fetid Bloat Drone, and a Mephitic Blight Hauler. Now, I don't know if there's different weapons loadouts for these, so again, the points could be slightly different to what I've written down, but I've written it down as 367 points. So now you're on 1,867 points, thereabouts. You could be on as many as 1,900 points, really. Heavy support, you're getting a Plague Burst Crawler for 140 points. Again, I'm not sure if there's a different weapons loadout for that. And for transport, you're getting a 72 point Rhino, there are different weapons options for like the pintle mounted weapon. You could get a flamer, combi flamer, combi melter, stuff like that, to boost up your points by as many as 19 points for a combi melter. So that could come in at another 100 points or something. So you're looking at over 2,000 points of Death Guard there, really, which in anyone's book is a playable force, a very playable force. I'm not sure what tournaments are running at the moment. I feel like when 8th edition launched, they were running at around 2,250 points. But I could be wrong there. I'm not a tournament player myself. I'm driven more by the narrative. So when I'm looking to collect a force, I'm just looking for something that I think is going to be, reasonably fun to play with once I've built and painted it. I don't play an awful lot myself, so if you're looking for tactical tips and stuff like that, you're looking in the wrong place here. But just in terms of sheer number of points, it's looking pretty good there for the Death Guard. You're getting over 2,000 points of Death Guard, and you're also getting over 2,000 points of Primaris Marines, and we'll talk about them next. So, onto the blue boys, the Emperor's Space Marines. The Space Marines come in at a grand total of, and again this is with a few caveats like weapon selection, if there's certain weapons available to them and stuff like that. What I've tried to do is go off the picture, but obviously I may have got a few points wrong here and there, and Battlescribe could be wrong with points as well. But they come in at a grand total of 2,698 points. That's a lot of points. Is it a competitive army? I'd say probably not. But just going off that points total, that's a really impressive amount of points. Interesting thing is, if you look at the HQ points total, it's massive. And yeah, I'm going to tell you that now. It's 867 points for the HQs alone. So that's a big chunk of those 2,698 points. It's almost double the size of the Death Guard points total for HQs. And you get a lot more HQs in there then. So there we go. The first thing you get is the Cataphractii Captain, and you also get a Mark IV Chaplain. They come as a set on the GW website. I think it's just Space Marine Heroes it's listed as. And it's the two characters from the Betrayal at Calth set, Betrayal at Calth boxed game. After that, you get the Gravis Captain, which is in the Dark Imperium set. Then you get a Primaris Captain, a Primaris Chaplain, Primaris Librarian, and 3 Primaris Lieutenants. Now, one of those lieutenants is the special one that's exclusive to this subscription service. So you could actually use him as something. I mean, there's nothing to stop you using any of the lieutenants as something like a chapter champion, but you could use him as a chapter champion, bump your points up a little bit like that by selecting, I think it's a relic blade or something you can take. And yeah, so that's your HQs. 867 points in total, massive points total for HQs, and it's probably not the most competitive way to play the game by having all them HQs in there. So onto the troops now. The troops only come in at 404 points in the Space Marines, but you do get 4 squads in there if you want to play it as 4 squads. So you get 2 5-man scout squads, and you can build them. On the picture, it shows you some with sniper rifles and camo cloaks, and some with close combat weapons. That leads me to believe that they're probably the standard scouts because they come with all them sprues available. And it could be that the sprues are split in such a way that they only need to send you 2 lots of scout bodies and legs and 1 weapon sprue. So you can only build sniper scouts, shotgun scouts maybe, close combat scouts. You can't build 2 lots of sniper scouts, you can't build 2 lots of close combat scouts. Maybe something along those lines. It all depends, of course, on how they send you the sprues. And the other troop selections, you get 5 intercessors. Well, you get in total 13 intercessors by the looks of things, and it's going to be 10 intercessors from the Dark Imperium box, and 3 easy to build intercessors, which of course would have come with the First Strike box. So on to elites now. That was 404 points in total, so that's tiny in comparison. It's half the points of the HQs. You expect that to a certain extent, but not that extent. What I'd want is more points of troops, but obviously that means they'd have to send you more models. So on to the elites now. And the elites come in at a grand total of 563 points. You get aggressors, which look like the easy to build aggressors with the Flamestorm gauntlets, I think they're called. You get a Primaris Ancient, which comes in the Dark Imperium box, a Primaris Apothecary, a Redemptor Dreadnought, and 6 Reavers, which are the easy to build Reavers. If you wanted to give them extra little bits of war gear, like the, I think it's like stabilization fins or something, I don't know what they're called. You could do a few little easy conversions to, you know, just add a bit of plastic art to the backpack to give them that extra war gear. So that's 563 points in total. Onto the fast attack then. The fast attack includes an attack bike. It's probably the one from, it was pointed out to me by West Country Wargamer. It's probably the one from the Revel Easy to Build kits that they did for a little while. I've not seen, I think they're quite hard to get hold of now. I've never found one for a decent price myself, but they were relatively cheap when they were available. And they were just blue plastic, easy to build kind of thing, the same as the easy to build kits you're seeing in GW stores now. But that's it's a nice cheap way of them. So the thing is though, you can't find that for a decent price now. So you're gonna, even if you bought that specific kit, you'd probably be paying over the odds for it. So you might as well just get your standard attack bike. Other than that, you get a bike squad, an Inceptor squad, and a land speeder squad. That's 365 points. In the heavy selection, you get Hellblasters. That's it. 165 points. Dedicated transport, you get a repulsor for 334 points. So with the Hellblasters, you could obviously increase the points if you wanted to by giving them the more expensive plasma guns. I wouldn't have a problem playing against them with, you know, those proxy weapons, or you could even get do a little kit bash, get a few little bits from your bits box, if you've got a bits box, and just add them onto the guns to signify which gun it is, which plasma gun it is. There's no real need to increase the points cost of any of the units in the Space Marine side though, but if you wanted to do that little conversion to make them one of the other plasma guns, or if you just wanted to play them as proxy and whoever you're playing is okay with it, then that's okay. And the repulsor as a dedicated transport, it's the only transport the Primaris Space Marines have got, so if you want to move your Primaris Space Marines about the table, it's a good unit to have in there, I'd say. It's pretty expensive though at 335 points, isn't it? And it's interesting that I think it's interesting that the Space Marine side is so much higher than the Death Guard side. Now, there's a few things you can do with that information. As a Death Guard collector, if you were a Death Guard collector, I should say, you can convert some Primaris Space Marines into Nurgle pretty easily. I'd say you could just get the Primaris Space Marines. I've got one here, how handy, an Intercessor Sergeant. And you could scrape off, using a knife, a hobby knife, just scrape off the chest eagle and skull. Or leave the skull on if you want, as Death Guard like skulls. And you can do a few mutations on his armour. Just get a bit of green stuff, put it on one of his armour plates. Get something like a biro lid. Biro lid there. It's got a nice circle on the end of that. And you can do a little, if you put a bit of green stuff on his shoulder pad, a little press there, press there, press there. And it looks like pustules, and you can do them in a triangular formation if you wanted to. In order to convert them. You could even take some of the Primaris Marines and some of the bits from like the Poxwalkers or something like that, the tentacles off the Poxwalkers, butcher your Poxwalkers and have Primaris Marines with tentacles and things like that to make the most out of the kits available to you if you play one army but not the other. Now, I was well up for going in on this subscription and getting probably the premium subscription as well. But I'm having second thoughts now. Basically, the person I was hoping to split it with, he's a Death Guard player. I was hoping to split it with him, but he doesn't want to do it because at the end of the day, it's an extra £16 a month you've got to find if you're splitting it between two people. And it's an extra £19 a month if you want the premium subscription. Again, if you're splitting it between two people. I'm tempted to still go in on it by myself, but I'm not entirely convinced that I should do, because this year I've done really well. I've not purchased stuff just like that. Not much stuff anyway. There's been the Forgebane box set which I bought, the Harry Potter pre-order which I mention on a few videos every now and again. I should be getting that next month hopefully, so you might be seeing some of that on the channel. But the whole point of this year was to try and sell some minis on eBay and stuff like that, get rid of some old minis, and basically any minis that I bring in I fund by selling old minis. The Forgebane box set, I bought Forgebane and I thought, well, I'm breaking my promise, my New Year promise anyway, by buying minis that aren't, at the start of the year I think I specified, I'm allowed to buy any new Orc releases that come out, and so October's just around the corner. We're racing towards October, shall we say. There's some very tempting previews going up on the GW community website. But basically my New Year promise was to not buy any new miniatures. I was allowed to buy terrain still, allowed to buy books still, but just not new miniatures, allowed to buy hobby supplies and stuff like that. But I bought Forgebane for, I don't know, Forgebane plus Eisenhorn was somewhere around the £100 mark, and I've sold about £100 worth of miniatures on eBay in the past couple of weeks. I also sold 2 Knights, which was another about £90. I'm on about £200 of sales for the year. What I'm thinking is, if I keep plugging away with this selling of older stuff, that can go towards funding this subscription. But I need to make the decision soon, because if I don't make the decision soon, I'm not going to get the rewards that I want from it. There's also another issue, again from, did I say West Country Wargaming before? I think I did, didn't I? Black Country Wargaming is what I meant. Not West Country. So Black Country Wargaming, he mentioned he's had a subscription to a similar service before from Hatchet Partworks, and he cancelled the subscription, but they kept taking money from his account. I think that was what he said, or basically he was having trouble cancelling it or something along those lines. But he advised me to go and check the reviews on the internet about Hatchet Partworks and their previous subscription services that they do. They do all sorts of ones. They do some for cross-stitching magazines and all sorts of things, for loads of different little hobby subscriptions basically. And I had a look on Trustpilot, which is like it's somewhere you can leave reviews basically, and 5-star ratings, or star rating systems and stuff like that for things like subscription services and just services in general. There was like 17 reviews. They all gave them 1 star. The issue with that is, you're never going to get someone who's happy with the service going to a website like that and leaving a good review, because if I pay for a service and the service is as I expect, I'm not going to go out of my way to leave a review. It's as simple as that. The only time you really get good reviews is sometimes in in direct face-to-face service industry, like shops and restaurants and stuff like that. You might get customers leaving good reviews if there's feedback forms, if there's a place to leave a review at the bottom of the receipt and stuff like that, where you can win a prize. Having worked in retail before, you do get good reviews and you get bad reviews as well. You get more good reviews than bad reviews if you basically if it's face-to-face. What I'm getting at is, if it's face-to-face service industry, you're going to get better reviews. It sounds like there's some real horror stories out there though, which has sort of made me think, maybe, because if I did want to cancel the subscription, I'd most likely really struggle to stop them taking money out of my account by the looks of things. However, 17 out of I don't know how many customers Hatchet Partworks have had over the years, but 17 bad reviews on Trustpilot. I'm sure there's probably more out there, but let's say out of thousands and thousands of subscriptions that they've had over the years, maybe it's not as bad as it first seems. You're only seeing bad reviews because people don't go to websites like Trustpilot, and leave good reviews. It's a place to air your grievances, basically. Websites like that. That's what I think they are anyway. So just do your due diligence. Flipping heck, you can't say that, can you? Do your due diligence. There we go. Make sure you do that before you decide whether or not you're subscribing. There's potential reasons for me to subscribe, although I don't collect Death Guard. I don't really collect Space Marines either. I do a bit. I was working on an Imperial Fist Primaris Marine army. I don't know if you can see that. If you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. If I hold it in my face, you can probably see that. It's a Reaver, painted in sort of Imperial Fist colours. So I was working on that, and that's just kind of stopped. And that's all the miniatures from the Dark Imperium set, and I bought myself a First Strike set and also an easy to build Reaver set. Now, am I at a stage where I should be adding to that? Probably not, is the answer. I shouldn't really be adding to that at the minute because I've not finished the miniatures I've got. So, what could I do with these miniatures in this collection? I want some of the free stuff that comes in the collection, like the fold-out boards and stuff like that. It's not really free because you're paying for it. You're paying a subscription fee. But I do want some of the stuff that comes in the collection. Do I need it? Of course not. Will I buy it at some point in the future? Probably, yeah, and I'll pay more for it than I would if I'd bought it from here. If you take into account the paint you're likely to get, let's assume you get 5 paints a month. So 5 paints a month over about 20 months, I think it is, for 80 issues. Then, yeah, 20 months we'll say. Then 5 paints a month are about £2.50 for a pot of paint. So you're looking at about £12.50 times 20. £12.50 times 20 is a lot of money. Yeah, well, £12.50 times 10 it's another 220 quid on top. Plus the extra gifts that have I done that right? I don't know. No, you can do the math yourself and work it out. Plus you're getting like fold out boards in the premium subscription. There'd be things in there like, by the looks of it on the website, there's things like Ultramarine tokens and stuff. Maybe it's for things like Shaken and to represent various rules in the game. There's a potential that you could get a Space Marine and a Death Guard Codex in there because you're paying an extra 120 quid. They're saying you get 2 boards. Looks like you're getting the data cards in there that come in the First Strike box set. But hopefully, it looks like I bought the ones for the Knights and it comes in a box similar to that. So I'm hoping you get the data cards for all units in there, which I think are really useful. But if you get them, you probably won't get the Codex for either force. You might do, you might not. So there's pluses and minuses. Do I want to subscribe at the minute? I'm just not sure, to be honest. And it launches this week in the UK, so UK and Ireland. So I'm just not sure. It's going to help create content for my channel. For almost a year, I did the Warhammer Thoughty videos like this one, week after week, and I got to almost episode 50 and then kind of had a break from it. But with something like that, it gives me at least once every month some guaranteed content for my channel. It could even be, if I get them painted in quick order and stuff like that, it could even be that does provide the whole content for a month of my channel. But do I want to be working on a Space Marine force in October when there's Orc miniatures being released and stuff like that? Probably not. What I could do is put all the miniatures to one side, slowly feed them out onto my channel. I could give away some of the miniatures in giveaways. I could even do a monthly giveaway or something where I give away one of the units, whether it's Space Marine or Death Guard. The Chaos Rhino that you get in there, I could easily make that a Space Marine Rhino if I don't want to start a Death Guard army. I can sell some of the miniatures to my friend who, although he doesn't want to commit to money going out of his account every month, he's probably still going to be interested in the odd miniature here and there, like the Typhus some of the characters maybe, and some of the vehicles, stuff like that. So there's still reason for me to get it to a certain extent, but I'm going to have to really work out what I can do with it. Some of the miniatures, if I was to do it, some of the miniatures that end up on eBay, I'd have to be clever about when I put them on eBay, because there's going to be other people putting these miniatures on eBay as well. So I'd have to hold on to certain ones for a bit longer, wait till the sort of market, the flooded market has dried up a little bit, if you get me. Basically, at this stage, I'm not sure whether or not I'll be subscribing to the service. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should I subscribe? It'll give you all sorts of content. It wouldn't give you all sorts of content on my channel. It'd give me some regular content with the channel. So there's pluses, there's minuses. I can sell more. I'm going to be selling more miniatures in the coming weeks and use that to fund it, like I've said. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you going to be subscribing? That's a more important thing. Forget about whether I'm subscribing or not. Are you guys going to be subscribing? I think Scarne is going to be subscribing and probably doing unboxings and stuff like that on the channel, on his channel. So let me know if you're going to be subbing. It's a great way to build a force if I've not got other things to work on, but I've got loads of other things to work on as is. This year I've been trying to get rid of miniatures, but this would just be more miniatures flooding into me. As much as they don't come all in one big collection. Am I going to get the miniatures that come at the start of the month, let's say? Am I going to get them painted by the end of the month? Probably not. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Are you going to be subscribing to this magazine subscription? And do you think it's good value? That's another thing for you. So total value, I estimate it to be £923, take off 15, so let's say £908. That's just the minis in terrain. Add the paint on top of that, it takes it above £1,000 easily. Add the hobby equipment. Even if you've got a premium subscription, you're likely to be saving at least 25%. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching, guys. It's been a long one. If you stuck with me this far, well done. And I will see you on the battlefield.